literally anyone who has a computer and an internet connection can be a producer of goods, thanks to digital products, things that you can make and share electronically. You don't have to have physical products. Back in the day, before the internet, if you wanted to be a producer, you'd have to have so much capital, so much money, own a factory. Like, the barrier to entry was inaccessible to the vast majority of people who are ever going to be born. But now, thanks to the internet, we all own the means of production. We all have our little factories in our laptops. You can write a book and publish it at no cost to yourself. Then the biggest problem is just distribution, figuring out how to get it out there, how to build an audience. That's an entirely different topic. But for now, just thinking about the power of digital goods, one other benefit is that digital products are way better for the environment, because to sell 1,000 ebooks has no impact on anything around us. You don't have to cut down any trees to sell an ebook. So that's another benefit of the whole digital product side. But in this video, I'm thinking about 5 types of digital products that you could make. And the first one would be an ebook, because the barrier to entry to make an ebook is really low. As long as you can write or really just talk, you don't even have to write your ebook. You can talk it out into a phone and hire an editor to organize your thoughts. But essentially, if you have any knowledge about anything, you can turn that into an ebook. You don't have to be a complete expert. You just have to know more than the average person about a particular topic. And for instance, if you are a gardener, or you just do gardening as a hobby, you can create a 50-page ebook on, say, the 5 best vegetables to grow for beginners. And you could make this ebook like $1 or just free, and use it as a way to build an email list. Now, this is a pretty effective strategy because you're giving someone value for free, getting them exposed to your topic and your personality and your way of teaching, so that when you do release something that's bigger, like a 200-page ebook or a video course, then people are warmed up to the idea of buying something from you, and they've tested it. It's kind of like if you're on the Nintendo eShop, you can test out demos of games, and a lot of times you'll end up wanting to buy the full game because you grew connected to the demo. It was something that you enjoyed and you got some kind of benefit out of it. So if you make an ebook, you have to think of what's the main benefit you want to give the person on the other side. And generally for ebooks, it's generally some type of result that the person can get from getting your ebook. On the other hand, if you're a fiction writer, the result could be just entertainment. So you give them a little taste of your writing style. Ebooks don't just have to be like non-fiction or fiction necessarily. They could also have pictures in them. It could be like an art book. If you're an artist, they get a PDF of 20 of your images and some behind the scenes information about how you made that and the materials you used and what's the message or the story behind each picture. Possibilities are limitless. Like, an ebook is just a method of delivering information, but the particular information is entirely unique to the person producing it. So you have to think about what makes you unique, what are your skills, and how can you put that into a little digital ebook that you could offer for free to build an email list or sell on Kindle or Amazon or wherever you want to do it, Gumroad, wherever. The The possibilities for ebooks are limitless, and the barrier to entry is none. Anyone can do it. The problem is that this creates oversaturation where there are just a lot of really junky ebooks out there. So you don't want to just put out crap. You want to put out something that if it was actually published in a store, if it was in Barnes & Noble, you would want to be proud of it. If someone opened up your book, you would want to make something that someone would buy. So that's something to keep in mind with digital products, is that it is very easy to get digital products out into the market, but we want to make sure we're putting out stuff that we're really proud of, because if there's just so much crap, then that hurts everyone, because then people will start to be less inclined to get any type of ebook if all their experiences with ebooks are lackluster. So keep that in mind. The second type of digital product you could offer is a video course. If you've ever been on YouTube and searched for how-to, there's a million topics that can come up, because people are always wanting to learn how to do anything. And this is a natural extension to the ebook thought process. But the barrier to entry is much higher, because you have to obviously have a camera, and generally video courses, you can charge more for them, but they are generally a lot more in-depth than an ebook, and they need to be very well organized, have a natural progression from video 1 to 2 through 12, or how many videos there are, and they need to be very concise and streamlined, and organized in a way that makes sense for someone to go through in chronological order. Of course, like with the internet, almost all the information you need to learn most skills is pretty much available for free, but you'd have to spend so many hours finding the information that you need and going through crumbing tutorials and just trying to figure out what's the logical order you need to learn a skill in. One free tutorial series is on Blender. There's like a playlist of 40 tutorials for the certain channels I've been watching to teach you how to do Blender. And if you make a video tutorial, it needs to be something for beginners, if that's what it's for. Like, you don't want to use overly technical language. You need to make sure that it's like you have the cursive knowledge, whatever you're teaching. So in my case, I do 2D animation, but not everyone's going to know what squash and stretch means, or what anticipation means, or any of the 12 principles of animation. So I couldn't just make a tutorial course on how to make 2D animation and start using those terms without first defining the terms. So a video course, you can potentially make quite a bit more money than with ebooks, but it takes a lot more research and more time. It's something that takes a long time to build up. I've been trying to make one for like a couple years, but I'm just in the writing stage still. I've had so many projects going on, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. Whatever type of skill you have, are people wanting to learn about it? Search on YouTube. If there's already tutorials on YouTube for the thing that you're interested in teaching, then there's definitely interest. And you can use like Keyword Finder and SEMrush and other types of like Google Trends, other types of keyword research tools to see how many monthly searches is your topic getting. If there's a lot of interest in it, then that might be a good idea to make a video course out of it. The third type of digital good that you could produce, and it's my personal favorite, it's the one that I've spent the most time doing, is digital assets. Now, digital assets could be any type of thing that a person could download that they can use to create their own artwork or products or services or anything like that. So to give you a specific example would be music producers. You could make a digital asset pack of sound effects that music producers could put into their songs, or video creators could put, like if you made like horror sound effects that has 50 types of scary sounds and creepy synths and things that video producers could edit into their own short films or YouTube videos. That is something that's pretty popular, because it's not just something that someone's buying to learn, it's something that someone is buying to use, and they could potentially make their own money off of it, depending on how you create your terms of licensing and what the commercial use is on it. For me personally, what I'm doing is I'm an animator, so I thought, how can I turn, like, I do a lot of freelance animation, making music videos and tour visuals, but obviously there's only 24 hours in the day, so I can't make things for everyone. So what I did was make loops, animation clips that just loop forever, and they're in these packages that people can download from my website, and it has MP4s and ProRes files, just different file types depending on what system they use, and they can take the loops and drop it into their video editor and make their own music videos or use it for live performances. But since that's a digital asset that I made once, I put a ton of work up front into creating this thing, but then it's just set and people can create things on their own. So that is something to consider. Whatever it is that you do, how can you turn your service into a product that people can download? So if you design websites, you could create a website template that people could buy for 10 or 20 bucks or however much, whereas normally maybe you charge like $500 to design a website. You know, if you're selling it for $20, then you just need 25 people to download it to make what you would normally make for 1 gig. But after a while you build up momentum, it can scale way more than what you charge for 1 gig. Another example along the template lines would be like email marketing, or just writing like resumes. You could have like a resume template. The fourth type of digital good you could create is actually what I'm doing right now, just making videos. In a way, posting videos on YouTube, they are like assets, because advertisers advertise on them and you get a little cut depending on how often people click on the ad. It's like this thing that you make once, and then it's on YouTube, existing as a sort of type of digital good that people watch and consume. Well, the barrier to entry for this is, at least at the moment, that you have to have 1,000 subscribers and then get 4,000 hours of watch time. So that could, like, if you're just starting out on YouTube, that could take a year if you post once or twice a week. Just depends on how fast you grow, but I wouldn't bank on it as like a main source of revenue, because it goes up and down and it fluctuates very drastically depending on what type of stuff you do, how advertiser friendly you are. The CPM it fluctuates depending on like the specific topic. For instance, technology type topics tend to make a lot more money per 1,000 views. So I've seen CPMs as high as $10 to $15, meaning that on average for every 1,000 views a person gets, that's $10 or $15. Whereas like vlog style type videos, it seems to get more like $1 per 1,000 views. But so generally, like educational type content has a higher CPM, but it seems like entertainment type content is pretty all over the place. So keep that in mind, like what type of topic you're doing. But just relying on Google AdSense is a terrible business strategy. A lot of people suffered from what was called the adpocalypse a couple years ago, when a bunch of advertisers pulled out and everyone's YouTube revenue just shot way down. So people who were relying basically solely on YouTube AdSense revenue, that is an extremely not smart business strategy. It's like building your house on quicksand, something that's completely out of everyone's control. So a smarter thing, like if you're going the YouTube route, is that when you build up a bigger audience, you could do sponsorships, which is what all the bigger YouTubers seem to be doing, and that diversifies your income. But there's countless ways to monetize YouTube, really. But I think probably the best thing is to not really even think about it that way. More just use YouTube as a way to create stuff, experiment, see what you like to do, naturally build up an audience. It is very oversaturated in a sense, but it also isn't, because more and more people are joining. So yes, there's more people eating from the pie, but the pie keeps getting bigger. The fifth type of digital good is subscription service. So generally it's monthly. A popular one would be Patreon, but there's others, like other types of apps you can use on Shopify, countless other ways. Of course, Netflix is one that comes to mind. You pay $12 a month or however much to gain access to a select number of shows and movies. But in the case of Patreon, it seems to pair naturally to what a lot of YouTubers will use. And basically with Patreon, you can offer some type of thing that you're making anyways, but in a way that's more exclusive, or a bonus. For instance, if you create comics, then you could offer your webcomic a month in advance or a week in advance, or you could have like a mini series that's only accessible through Patreon. So with a subscription service, you're basically giving people access to something that they wouldn't otherwise have. That could include access to you. A lot of people will do like exclusive Discord chats or Skype hangouts, something where it's something that someone's getting, that they're subscribing to, they're getting it monthly, that is more special, more exclusive, something that is priced in such a way that it makes sense to be a recurring type of cost. But the great thing about a subscription service is that it's recurring monthly revenue for you. So if you're trying to sell digital goods, you make a certain amount in a month and then you start back to zero. But with the subscription service, those customers are still there month by month, and it grows. There is, in general, I think the subscription burnout rate's like 11%. So if you had like 100 people subscribing to your offer every month, then you could expect 10 or so people to be dropping off after half a year or a year, or however long it is. I forget the exact numbers on it. But basically, as long as you're gaining more people than you are losing people, it's definitely a powerful business model to consider. Often you want to charge less for a subscription service than what your products would be. So in my particular case, I generally sell a VJ pack of like 30 plus animated loops for $97 on my website. But on my Patreon page, people get access to 9 exclusive loops every month for $9. So it's quite a bit less expensive. But it is a lot of work, so you have to consider that as well. You have to figure out what's something that you can produce every single month. I'm gonna be producing more videos like this, offering tips and things that I'm learning about being an artist, trying to make it through the use of digital products. So subscribe if you found this useful, like it if you liked it. Let me know in the comments how you plan to use digital products, or what type of thing you're gonna make.